Welcome back to Antique Coins Information, where history meets hidden treasure. Today we're diving deep into the world of rare U.S. coins to uncover the top 5 most valuable Lincoln 1-cent wheat pennies, the elusive cents that are worth millions to collectors around the globe. From astonishing errors to legendary survival stories, these humble pennies carry incredible value and fascinating histories. So grab your coin pouch and magnifying glass. Let's explore the wheat pennies that could make you a fortune. The story of the United States of America 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny begins in a time when the entire nation was standing at the edge of history. This was not just another year for American coinage. It was a year shaped by uncertainty, sacrifice, and global conflict. When you hold a 1942 wheat penny in your hand, you are not simply holding copper alloy metal. You are holding a silent witness to one of the most dramatic chapters in American history, a small coin that traveled through pockets during wartime, grocery lines, factories, and family homes where every cent mattered more than ever before. In 1942, the United States was deeply involved in the Second World War. Industries were rapidly converting to support the war effort, families were rationing food, gasoline, and clothing, and Americans were learning to live with less. Coins produced during this period played a vital role in daily transactions, especially the humble 1-cent piece. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was essential for buying bread, milk, and basic necessities. Every penny counted, and the sound of coins clinking together carried far more meaning than it might today. The Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny design had already become a familiar symbol by 1942. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first regularly issued United States coin to feature a real historical figure. By the time 1942 arrived, Americans strongly associated Lincoln's portrait with unity, strength, and perseverance. These qualities were especially powerful during wartime, making the coin not just practical, but emotionally significant as well. On the obverse, or front side of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile faces to the right. His calm expression seems almost reassuring, as if reminding citizens to stay strong during uncertain times. Above his head appears the word liberty, a simple yet powerful statement in a world fighting to preserve freedom. The date 1942 is clearly struck beneath Lincoln's portrait, anchoring the coin firmly in one of the most important years of the 20th century. Because this particular penny has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which was responsible for producing enormous quantities of coins to keep the economy moving. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat reverse that collectors cherish today. 2 wheat stalks curve gently along the left and right edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. During 1942, this message carried special meaning. A nation made up of many individuals was united in a single cause, and this small phrase reflected the spirit of the time perfectly. The metal composition of the 1942 wheat penny is another fascinating part of its story. Most pennies of this year were struck using a bronze alloy composed primarily of copper, with smaller amounts of tin and zinc. Copper was a critical material during the war, used for ammunition and electrical wiring, which makes these coins especially interesting to historians and collectors alike. The following year, in 1943, the United States would switch to steel pennies to conserve copper, making the 1942 issue one of the last traditional copper pennies before that dramatic change. While millions of 1942 no-mint mark wheat pennies were produced, surviving examples in exceptional condition are far less common. Many of these coins circulated heavily, experiencing decades of wear from being passed hand to hand. Scratches, smoothing of details, and discoloration are common on circulated examples. Because of this, coins that remain well preserved, with strong details and original surfaces, are highly sought after by collectors who value quality as much as history. Collectors pay close attention to the strike quality on these pennies. Some examples show crisp lettering, sharp wheat stalk lines, and well-defined facial features on Lincoln. Others may appear softer or weaker due to worn dies or high-speed wartime production demands. The better the strike and the more original the coin's surface, the greater its appeal in the collector market. Even subtle differences can have a dramatic impact on desirability. Another aspect that adds intrigue to the 1942 no-mint mark wheat penny is the possibility of rare variations and errors. Wartime production pressures sometimes led to unusual results, such as off-center strikes, doubled features, or planchet irregularities. While such errors are not common, they add an element of excitement for collectors who carefully examine their coins in hopes of discovering something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. Beyond technical details, the true value of this coin lies in its story. Imagine a penny minted in 1942 traveling through the hands of factory workers producing war supplies, soldiers on leave spending a few cents at a local shop, or families carefully budgeting every purchase. Each coin lived a life, passed through countless moments both ordinary and historic. That connection to real people and real events is what gives the wheat penny its lasting appeal. For modern collectors and enthusiasts, the 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny represents a bridge between the past and the present. It is accessible enough for new collectors to appreciate, yet historically rich enough to fascinate seasoned numismatists. It reminds us that even the smallest denomination can carry immense historical weight. When evaluating the worth of this coin, condition plays a critical role. A heavily worn example tells a powerful story of circulation and use, but coins that retain strong detail, smooth surfaces, and pleasing color stand out in the market. Collectors often look for coins that appear as close as possible to how they looked when they first left the mint over 80 years ago. Such preservation is rare and commands attention. The market for Lincoln Wheat Pennies has grown steadily over the years as more collectors recognize their importance. Coins from the wartime era, especially those just before major changes in composition, hold a special place in collections. The 1942 no-mint mark issue benefits from this historical positioning, making it more than just another date in a long series. As interest in American history continues to grow, so does appreciation for artifacts that can be physically held and studied. Unlike photographs or documents locked away in archives, a wheat penny can be owned, examined, and passed down through generations. It serves as a tangible reminder of resilience, unity, and the everyday lives of Americans during one of the most challenging periods the nation has ever faced. For those who stumble upon a 1942 no-mint mark wheat penny in a collection, a coin jar, or an inherited stash, it is worth taking a moment to appreciate its journey. What may appear to be a simple cent is actually a survivor from a world very different from our own, yet one whose lessons still resonate today. In the end, the fascination surrounding this coin is not only about rarity or metal content, but about meaning. It captures a moment when the United States stood firm in the face of adversity, and every small contribution mattered. This is why collectors continue to seek out exceptional examples and why the story of this penny continues to be told. The remarkable value associated with an outstanding example of the United States of America 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny has been known to reach an astonishing amount, with top specimens valued at $37,366. The story of a single penny can sometimes feel larger than the history books themselves, and few coins capture that feeling better than the United States of America 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary copper coin, the kind that once passed quietly through the hands of shopkeepers, soldiers, factory workers, and families trying to rebuild their lives during a world at war. Yet hidden within its modest size is a remarkable journey of history, rarity, survival, and unexpected value that continues to fascinate collectors and everyday people alike. To truly understand why this penny matters, we must travel back to the heart of the 1940s. The year 1944 was one of the most critical periods in American history. World War II was still raging, and the United States was fully committed to supporting the war effort. Factories ran day and night, resources were rationed, and nearly every aspect of daily life was influenced by the demands of global conflict. Coins, surprisingly, were no exception. Metal shortages forced the government to make difficult decisions about what materials could be used for everyday money. Just 1 year earlier, in 1943, the Lincoln cent had been struck in steel coated with zinc instead of copper. This change was made to conserve copper for military use. However, the steel cents proved unpopular. They rusted easily, were often confused with dimes, and created countless problems for vending machines and cash registers. By 1944, the United States Mint returned to using a copper-based alloy, but not in the traditional way. Instead, the copper used for the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Pennies was largely recycled from spent ammunition shells collected from military training grounds. This detail alone gives the coin a powerful symbolic meaning, turning remnants of war into tools of everyday commerce. The design of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny remains one of the most beloved in American numismatics. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile stands firm and dignified, a reminder of unity, resilience, and leadership during times of crisis. The inscriptions are simple yet iconic, with the nation's motto and the year clearly displayed. On the reverse, the two wheat ears frame the words 1 cent and the name of the country, symbolizing prosperity, growth, and the agricultural roots of the nation. It is a design that feels timeless, instantly recognizable even to those who know little about coins. What makes the no-mint mark variety especially intriguing is its place of origin. When a Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1944 has no mint mark, it means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. At that time, Philadelphia was the primary minting facility and did not use a mint mark on its coins. While millions of pennies were struck there, not all survived in the same condition. Over decades of circulation, countless coins were worn down, damaged, lost, or melted. The survivors that remain today tell a story not just of their creation, but of their endurance. Condition plays a massive role in determining the worth of any coin, and this penny is no different. Many 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Pennies are still found in circulated condition, often darkened, scratched, and softened by years of handling. These common examples carry sentimental and historical value, but not extraordinary monetary worth. However, the story changes dramatically when we consider coins that have been preserved in exceptional condition. Pennies that retain sharp details, original luster, and minimal signs of wear are far rarer than most people realize. Even more fascinating are the rare errors and unique characteristics that can appear on some 1944 no-mint mark wheat pennies. During the intense production schedules of wartime, mistakes occasionally slipped through the minting process. Off-center strikes, doubled features, planchet flaws, and other anomalies can turn an already historic coin into a true collector's prize. These errors are like fingerprints, making each coin unique and highly desirable to specialists who spend years searching for such pieces. Another layer of intrigue comes from the metal composition itself. Because the copper used in 1944 was recycled from wartime materials, slight variations in alloy composition can sometimes be detected. This adds an almost invisible but deeply meaningful connection between the coin and the global events of its time. Holding one of these pennies is like holding a tiny artifact forged from the echoes of history. Collectors are drawn to the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny not just for its potential value, but for what it represents. It is a bridge between the hardships of war and the hope of normalcy. It circulated in a time when every penny mattered, when families saved coins in jars, children searched the ground for spare change, and the economy depended on both sacrifice and determination. This emotional connection often fuels the passion of collectors just as much as rarity does. Over the years, as numismatics has grown in popularity, interest in wheat pennies has surged. Many people begin their collecting journey with Lincoln cents because they are accessible, historically rich, and deeply American. Among these, the 1944 no-mint mark stands out as a cornerstone piece, especially when found in high grade. Auction records, private sales, and certified examples have shown that when all the right factors come together, this humble penny can achieve astonishing recognition. Preservation is key. Coins that were carefully stored away in rolls, albums, or collections shortly after being minted had a far greater chance of surviving in pristine condition. These untouched examples often show bright surfaces, full wheat lines, and strong facial details on Lincoln's portrait. When such a coin is professionally graded and authenticated, its status can change overnight from common pocket change to celebrated collectible. It is also important to understand the role of demand. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series is one of the most widely collected coin series in the world. This broad interest creates strong competition for top-quality examples. When collectors compete for the best of the best, prices naturally rise. The 1944 no-mint mark penny, with its wartime origin and copper composition, benefits greatly from this enduring demand. For many viewers, the idea that a single penny could be worth a significant amount of money feels almost unbelievable. Yet this is exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. Hidden treasures sometimes sit unnoticed in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. While not every 1944 penny will be valuable, the possibility alone keeps people searching, learning, and appreciating the stories behind these small metal discs. The journey of this coin from the mint to modern collections spans decades of American life. It has witnessed post-war prosperity, cultural change, technological advancement, and the evolution of money itself. In a world increasingly dominated by digital transactions, holding a historic penny like this feels grounding and personal. It reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. As we reach the end of this story, the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny stands as a powerful example of how history, condition, rarity, and collector passion can transform something ordinary into something extraordinary. It is a coin that connects past and present, war and peace, simplicity and surprise. And when all the right elements align, this single cent has been known to achieve an astonishing value of $54,827. Imagine holding a small copper coin in your hand, something that looks ordinary at first glance, yet carries within it the weight of history, mystery, and surprising value. Today, we journey back to the year 1946, just after the echoes of World War II had faded, when the United States of America was rebuilding, reshaping, and redefining itself. In that transformative moment, a humble 1-cent coin was struck, a Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark, quietly entering circulation without anyone realizing the fascination it would inspire decades later. The 1946 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny represents a bridge between eras. America had just emerged from a global conflict that changed industries, families, and daily life. Soldiers were returning home, factories were shifting from wartime production back to consumer goods, and optimism was slowly replacing uncertainty. In this atmosphere, the United States Mint continued its steady work, striking coins that would serve a growing economy. Among them was the wheat penny, a design that had already become familiar to Americans since its introduction in 1909. On the obverse side of this penny, Abraham Lincoln's portrait stands proudly, dignified and calm. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's image was revolutionary at the time of its first appearance, as it marked the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation. By 1946, Lincoln's portrait had become deeply ingrained in American identity, symbolizing unity, endurance, and moral strength. Each line of his profile on the penny seems to echo the values that helped guide the nation through its most challenging years. Turning the coin over reveals the iconic wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with the phrase, E pluribus unum, resting above. The wheat design itself is rich in symbolism, representing prosperity, agriculture, and the backbone of the nation's economy. In the context of 1946, those wheat stalks carried even deeper meaning. They stood for nourishment after scarcity, growth after destruction, and hope after hardship. What makes the 1946 wheat penny especially intriguing is the absence of a mint mark. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally carried no mint mark, and this detail alone has captured the attention of collectors for generations. A no mint mark penny tells a subtle story of origin, tying the coin directly to the heart of American coin production. While millions were produced, not all survived the wear of circulation, melting, or loss over time, making well-preserved examples increasingly desirable. The metal composition of the 1946 penny is another fascinating chapter in its story. During World War II, copper was diverted for military use, forcing the mint to experiment with alternative materials. Steel pennies appeared briefly in 1943, creating confusion and curiosity among the public. By 1946, the mint had returned to a copper-based alloy, restoring the familiar weight, color, and feel of the penny. This return symbolized stability and normalcy, qualities Americans were eager to embrace. Collectors today examine these pennies closely, looking at strike quality, surface condition, and original luster. A sharply struck Lincoln portrait, clear lettering, and well-defined wheat ears can dramatically increase a coin's appeal. Even subtle details, such as the smoothness of the fields or the depth of the design elements, can make a significant difference in how a coin is evaluated. Each surviving penny becomes a small artifact, preserving a moment frozen in time. Another layer of intrigue comes from potential minting variations and errors. While major errors are rare, even minor anomalies can ignite excitement in the numismatic community. Slight die variations, off-center strikes, or unusual surface textures invite questions and speculation. These imperfections transform an already historic coin into a unique conversation piece, reminding collectors that human craftsmanship, even in mass production, is never entirely uniform. Beyond technical details, the emotional connection people feel toward the 1946 wheat penny cannot be overlooked. Many collectors recall finding similar pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or pocket change from decades past. These coins often serve as gateways into the world of numismatics, sparking curiosity and a lifelong passion for collecting. Holding a wheat penny can feel like touching a fragment of family history, even if its previous owners are unknown. In the broader context of American coinage, the wheat penny era holds a special place. It spans times of peace, depression, war, and recovery. The 1946 issue sits at a particularly meaningful crossroads, capturing the nation's cautious optimism as it stepped into a new chapter. Each penny circulated through countless hands, witnessed everyday transactions, and quietly absorbed the stories of an entire generation. Condition plays a critical role in determining the desirability of any collectible coin. While many 1946 pennies show signs of heavy circulation, those that remain in exceptional condition stand out dramatically. A coin that has retained its original reddish tone, sharp details, and minimal wear becomes a standout example of post-war minting quality. Such specimens are often carefully preserved, encapsulated, and admired as miniature works of art. The growing interest in vintage American coins has brought renewed attention to wheat pennies. Collectors worldwide now recognize their historical and aesthetic value. Online platforms, auctions, and numismatic shows have created global communities where enthusiasts share discoveries, insights, and appreciation for these small but significant pieces of history. The 1946 no-mint mark penny frequently appears in discussions, admired for its symbolism and enduring charm. What truly elevates this coin, however, is the realization that something so small and once overlooked can command remarkable worth. It challenges our perception of value, reminding us that rarity, condition, and historical context can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. The penny, often dismissed as insignificant, becomes a testament to the idea that every object has a story, and some stories grow richer with time. As you consider the 1946 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, imagine the world it emerged into, the hands it passed through, and the journeys it may have taken. From bustling post-war cities to quiet rural towns, from grocery counters to childhood piggy banks, this coin lived a life far beyond its face value. Today, it stands as a symbol of resilience, craftsmanship, and the enduring allure of American history. For collectors and enthusiasts alike, this penny represents more than metal and design. It embodies a moment of renewal, a link between past and present, and a reminder that hidden treasures can exist in the most unexpected places. When evaluated at the highest levels of preservation and desirability, the worth of this remarkable coin reaches an astonishing figure of $35,566.